James, at the outset, we do want to clarify that you are not an attorney. And so, if folks are looking for more detailed advice or more specific legal advice on the use of force inside the home or the use of a gun inside the home, you really do need to talk to an attorney. But you are a firearms instructor with USCCA. With that, let's get to, I think some people need to understand some basic terms first, right, when it comes to firearms in the home. And we'll start with the first one. What is force and why is that important?
Okay. More general term, in legal terms, force is the application of physical power, violence or coercion against a person or property to compel action or overcome resistance. It includes actual violence, physical techniques. That would be something like martial arts could be considered force, and constructive force, which would be threats or intimidation. So it's not really deadly until it escalates to deadly.
Well, let's get to that. What is deadly force?
Great. In Texas, deadly force is defined as a force intended or known to cause, or in its manner of use, is capable of causing death or serious bodily injury. And serious bodily injury is another term that should always be considered here.
Duty to retreat. Now, again, I'm not an attorney, but that to me implies that you do have a duty to give the other guy a chance to leave. Am I right?
It means if you're intimidated, you do not have to back and run. You do not have to. However, let's look at the definitions here. And these definitions, these first three, including as we get to the final one today, they are legal interpretations. Again, right back to the fact that neither one of us are attorneys. So I would suggest you get further information to consult an attorney specializing in this type of defense, because in the event you are in an event with the use of deadly force, you may quickly need an attorney at your side. So in 1973, Texas imposed the, quote, duty to retreat law when it came to self-defense. Essentially, it says that to justify deadly force, as we previously defined it, an individual had to show that a reasonable person, critical term, could not have avoided the violent encounter by moving to a safe place and therefore had no option but to defend him or herself violently. So the key, every time a prosecutor might get a hold of one of these cases and see where the person was shot, what the circumstances were, he's always going to say, can I convince a jury that what this person did was unreasonable? If the defense can determine that it's going to be a reasonable person would have done the same thing you probably have, if you end up in a trial situation, you could end up getting acquitted. But the key is reasonable. What is reasonable? So is it reasonable that you be in your house and defend yourself in your house? Absolutely. And that's what's next.
That brings us to probably the most important term in all of this, two words, the Castle Doctrine. What is the Castle Doctrine, at least in terms of the state of Texas?
I would think that this would reassure people that they are in their homes and it is their castle. So in 1995, the Texas law added a Castle Doctrine, which said that an individual did not need to run away. There's no retreat, right? If he or she was defending his own house, his home, or property. The law expanded even more in 2007 when the Texas legislature changed the measure to say that individuals didn't need to retreat at all, instead needing only to prove they had a legal right to be present during the act of defense. So if you have a legal reason to be in your house, yeah, you own it. You own it. So that's your legal defense right there. Another common wording of this is your stand your ground law. Stand your ground.
In more practical terms, and in your experience and in what you teach, somebody breaks into your house and you do have a weapon that you have access to relatively quickly. What's your advice?
Well, one of the first things that we talked about in the previous Facebook post that we did is you need access to it. Sometimes it may need a fingerprint type safe or a combination code, but you better be able to get to it in a matter of a minute and have it in your hand and be ready to go. You need to have a plan. Where are people supposed to be when this is happening? Where do you encounter this person? Do they come in the back of the house? Are they walking in the back door and you meet them in your family room? Where is this encounter going to take place? And if it is, then a few things should happen. I would encourage people at that point to say, get out of my house. Let's make this let's make this unavoidable that you had to do this. And we'll talk about that term later. Make sure that someone can witness that you tried to make it unavoidable. You don't just come around the corner and shoot somebody, because it could be somebody you know, and then you're going to be in real trouble. But make sure it's unavoidable and tell them to get out of your house and leave. And then if they continue to move towards you, just like a police officer would do, if somebody lunges at a police officer and they have the firearm drawn and aimed, it's going to go off and people are going to go down right there. I mean, they may go down right at your feet.
Make it unavoidable. How do you do that?
Get out of my house. You have no business here. Who are you? Get out, get out, get out. Turn around and go back where you came from, or you will not walk out of here. Anything you can do, and use a command voice. Yell at them.
I've always heard, and tell me if this is true, do not own a gun or point a gun unless you're absolutely sure you have the capability of using it in terms of actually shooting someone. Otherwise, the results may not be work in your favor.
There have been gunfire exchanges between two people across a car's hood, and they shot multiple rounds at each other, and they all missed.
Wow.
That's what, 6 or 8 feet apart from each other? I mean, the first training for your license to carry distance is 20 rounds shot from 9 feet away. That's a very practical distance. The firearm should be trained on the person, and if they start running towards you, they should basically be stopped at the 9-foot mark.
So going back to what you should do, I think, and you've mentioned this before, a very important aspect of this is to give them warning to leave. And don't come, like you say, don't come around the corner shooting at people.
Yes, sir. I totally agree with that. And after all, there is a human life involved here. And no matter what the circumstances, you, as the homeowner, are going to feel really bad about it, because taking a human life is not a laughing matter. And it may cost you attorney, even though you're innocent, it could cost you thousands of dollars in attorney's fees. So get a policy, by the way. There are gun owners policies that you can get that will protect you.
Okay, on to the next step. You've shot someone, whether it was deadly or not. What's your next move?
I would say have insurance. You call 911. You do not say, somebody came to my house and I killed them. You say, there's been I'm a victim of a crime. I've had intrusion in my home. There's been injuries. Please send ambulance and the police to this location as soon as possible. And then you put the gun away. Assuming there's no more intruders, you feel like the scene is safe, put the gun away. You don't want to have a police officer walk in your house and you're the one with the gun. So put it away, and then briefly just say, this man came in my home. And say as little as possible to the police. And your second call is to your program attorney, the emergency hotline for your legal, and they will come. These guys are paid to be there within 30 minutes of where you're at. Get them at your house, and you talk to your lawyer first, and then you can make a statement to the police, because you're going to be real upset. You're going to say things that you might regret. You're going to be maybe ill, but don't just go running your mouth to the police or the 911 operator.
You say program attorney. Explain that to me a little bit.
For instance, if you had insurance through one of two agencies, one of them was called U.S. Law Shield, and then USCCA has their own insurance called Delta Defense. And if you had their insurance, your call would be to an emergency hotline. They will dispatch the attorney, and they'll head towards your location. So you'll have one right at your side. And then you can proceed to talk to the police through the attorney.
You're wearing the Cabela's Shield certified instructor. Tell me about Cabela's Shield.
I'm honored to be able to wear this. A year ago, I had been a USCC instructor for a year or so, and one of the local representatives for USCC approached me and said, would you like to be a part of a special program? I can't really tell you much about it, and we were held under a non-disclosure agreement for the better part of 10 months from March of last year. Finally, they unveiled it, and they have a national relationship with Bass Pro Shop. And of course, we all know, being here in Katy, the amazing Bass Pro Shop at Katy Mills Mall, and that gets to be my store for teaching as many as 4 to 6 classes a month over there. They welcome me with open arms, and we'll be teaching license to carry classes, various other hunter safety type courses, shotgun classes, rifle classes, introduction to pistol, emergency first aid classes. It is a tremendous opportunity to get to know them and their customers over there. So we're looking forward to it. And the Shield part of it is Delta Shield is our insurance. I'm not an insurance salesman, so I can't get into the benefits of it. But one could go to the USCCA website, become a member, and when you become a member, you receive all the insurance benefits automatically, which I have that also. So it's highly recommended, if nothing else, to have the membership with the insurance. And even before purchasing a firearm, I'd suggest someone do that, and as well as take your license to carry class, because you get into all the law that is right here in front of me from an instructor in detail, and then you know what the law is. And if you know the law, you might not even want to use deadly force. That's between you and your conscience.